Creating audiences in Facebook Business Manager can be a little confusing. We have custom audiences, lookalike audiences, and saved audiences. You may be wondering, do you need all of them? If so, how many should you have? Where do you actually use those within your ad campaigns? In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to create all three types of audiences, what you need to know about creating those audiences, and also where to actually use them within your ad strategy for cold traffic, warm traffic, and hot traffic. If you want to learn more about Facebook and Instagram ads, ad strategy, content marketing, and more, make sure you check out my other videos or like, comment, and share this video if you love it. If you are looking for more personalized help on Facebook and Instagram ads or growing your small business or marketing agency, I'd love to talk to you. So just click the link in this video description to schedule a call with me and my team. Let's go ahead and dive. Today, we are going to go through creating the audiences that you need for your level 1, level 2, and level 3 campaigns. So we are in Facebook Business Manager. You can go there at business.facebook.com. And then I'm going to be on the Audiences tab, which you can find from the 3-line hamburger style menu. The first thing that we want to do is we want to create our custom audiences. So we're just going to be working through these 3 tabs to create the audiences that we need. Your custom audiences will always be your level 2 or level 3 audiences. You do not use custom audiences for level 1. So what we want to do is when we see this custom audience source list, we want to create every single one that we have the opportunity to create. Not everyone will have the same options in terms of the assets that they can actually use to create these audiences, such as an Instagram business account. If you don't have an Instagram business account, you cannot create this audience. A customer list. So this is something that, as you can see right now, this is a newer ad account, and we cannot use a customer list audience for a little bit. So this is not something we can create right away. However, this is an ideal audience to use for your lookalikes whenever we get there. So if you have a lead list of people who reached out but never converted, or a paying customers list, that paying customers list is one of the single best sources of your lookalike audiences. So if you do have that or can compile that, you are going to want to do it. However, because this is a newer ad account, we simply can't create that. So we want to work through everything that we have. If we don't have any lead forms created, we're not going to be able to create a lead form audience yet. So you would want to create those lead forms first. If you don't have any videos that have run that you can create audiences based on, or if you need to create this for your level 1 video content, you need to upload that video content first. If you do not have a pixel on your website and landing pages, you're not going to be able to really effectively create this audience. So the first step is to actually compile all of the resources that you have. Make sure you know which custom audiences you can create. And if you need to create those lead forms or connect an Instagram business account or upload that video content or add that pixel, those are things you're going to want to do before we actually go through these steps. So this is going to be a website audience. We're going to click create. You can see that the pixel is listed. You want to make sure it's the right pixel and that there is a green dot showing you that it is active. We are going to create our 180-day website audience. If you have an e-commerce company, you also want to have a 7-day audience as well. Most businesses are able to have that 180 days because they can have a longer lead time. And also when you're first getting started with these custom audiences, you need to make sure that you have people in these audiences that you can serve your ads to. And if you've just started working on this type of marketing, you may not have enough people in a shorter window to be able to really deliver ads to a website traffic audience. So we want to go with the maximum number for all of them. However, we can also click on that website audience again and create a 7-day or a 30-day so that you can have more than one. Usually those would be something we'd be using in our level 3 audiences. So we just want to pick the maximum, which is 180 days. We're just going to call this Web 180. You may also want to exclude people that have taken certain actions, such as scheduling a call or making a purchase. If you currently have those things set up on your pixel, those events, then we are going to click exclude, and then we're going to say people who are a lead. So you have the opportunity to do people who visited specific pages, time spent, or from some of your events. So we're just going to do lead 30 days. These are the people that we're going to exclude from this audience. So you might say, why wouldn't we exclude it for 180 days? Well, the truth is, just because someone is a lead does not mean that they've converted or taken the next step. So we may still want them to see these ads, but you would likely do this for purchase or schedule. Again, because this is a brand new ad account, we don't have all of the features and all of the options available yet, but that's typically those that you would want to exclude. So we're going to head and click create audience. And that is our first custom audience. So you're going to then go to create audience again, go to custom audience, and we are going to select our Facebook page. This is something everyone should be able to do. So we're going to go ahead and find the page that relates to this business. Anyone who's engaged with your page, 365 days is the maximum. We're going to call this Facebook engagement. Create audience. So you're going to repeat those steps for every custom audience that you're able to create. So we could try and do Instagram account. You have to have that connected in your Facebook Business Manager to do this, but we're also going to do the same thing, 365 days. Create audience. We're going to click again, custom audience. We're going to try and do video. So what you're going to be able to do is first choose the engagement type. So this is how long does someone have to watch this video in order to go into this audience? So we can do a couple of different things. Ultimately, if you're just getting started or you don't have a lot of video content or you're just now going to be testing some level 1 video content, you probably want to start it at around 25% because we need to build your warm audience. As time goes on and you find videos that are getting really high percentage of watch time, you can then make it maybe people who've watched 75% of your video. But truthfully, early on, it doesn't mean that they're not interested if they've only watched 25%. If your topic is correct for your video, then that means that they are likely the right type of person because they could have kept scrolling at any point in time. However, when you're still newer to video, it could simply be that you did not hold their attention very well after a certain point, and so even if they were interested, they just stopped watching. So we're just going to select for this 25%. Once we do that, we see this button that says choose videos. So we would need to, again, go to the page in which we wanted to track these videos. We don't have any videos uploaded yet. If we did, we'd simply click on the video or maybe select all if we wanted to go ahead and get our collective video views audience, and then we would hit confirm. It's ideal to really focus primarily on videos that actually identify your target audience if they were to watch them. So if you've had random videos that you posted in the past that don't really say much about the person watching, you don't have to select those. Anytime you add a new video, it will not automatically be added to this audience. You will need to go back and edit this audience to add that new video. So that needs to be on your list of things to do whenever you are creating a new video for level 1 or even level 2 or level 3. Just go ahead and make sure that you edit that audience to reselect them. So again, we're not able to do the customer list audience. I will show you how to do that on another account, but that's really all we're going to do right now. So now that we have our initial custom audiences, they are populating. So the size is not going to be finite, and typically it's not ever going to give you a finite number because it's always going to be changing. Especially with the iOS 14 privacy updates, your web traffic audience could be significantly smaller than it actually is. This is why it's more important than ever that you use things like the conversions API through high level and the workflows to ensure that your events are tracking accurately and that you are adding people to those custom audiences through high level directly. But this is another reason why Instagram, Facebook, and your video views audiences, as well as your lead form audiences, are going to be really effective because those are tracked on the platform. So those numbers should be accurate in terms of how many people are actually watching them. There are occasionally times when the numbers of people watching certain percentages may be off, but Facebook will always have reporting glitches, so just keep that in mind. But those are going to be the most accurate in terms of the size of those audiences at this point. So what we're going to do is click on one of these audiences, and then we're going to go to these three little dots and click Create Lookalike. So this is going to be my Facebook page lookalike. If you are just getting started with advertising and you do not have things like a customer list or video views or a lot of opt-ins, you're simply going to have to test out the lookalikes from your warm audiences. So we are just going to type in United States, and it's just going to be the primary country where this engagement would have come from. It's not who you're targeting in the future, it's where this would have come from. And that's the same for customer list, for website traffic, or any of those custom audiences. So now we're going to start with just doing a 0 to 1% audience. We're going to click Create Lookalike. We will be able to narrow down the geographic region in which this lookalike is actually delivering to in the ad set when we're using this audience. So you don't need to select a state or a city or anything like that when you create them. You just need to create this on a country basis or even a continent basis. Then you can narrow that down when you're actually using that. So we're going to do that one more time. Create lookalike. We're also going to do that 1% to start. We also will do things like super lookalikes where we're doing 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, and then we're going to bundle those together, but that is a video for another time. So now we've got our warm traffic audiences, we've got 2 cold traffic audiences, but we're also going to create a saved audience. Saved audiences as a whole are always going to be cold traffic as well. Same thing for lookalike audiences. However, we are going to create our first saved audience called Collective Warm. This is literally just going to be a bundle of all of your custom audiences. If you create new custom audiences, you need to edit this audience and add those back in. If we want to exclude people, again, that have maybe made a purchase, we can do that. Ultimately, people who have scheduled a call, I don't always exclude them because until they've purchased, they are still a prospect. We're going to select people living in this location, and then we are going to type in an area that we're targeting. So for the collective warm, we always like to increase the geographics to as much as you can possibly do. The reason for this is these people have already engaged with you. They've already shown an interest. They may be outside of your typical or most desired zip codes or neighborhoods or even age range or gender. But because they've already engaged and shown that they're interested, we want to leave the age and the gender and the location as open as we possibly can. So then we're going to click Create Saved Audience. So this is your only saved audience that is not cold traffic, your collective warm. This is one that you will be using a lot at level 2 and even level 3. So now we're going to create a cold traffic saved audience. So we are going to call this cold demo. And we are also going to do people living in this location. I'm also going to select Fresno, but we're just going to keep it at a 20-mile radius. I am then going to select ages of 35 through 65 plus, and then genders will be both. And this is going to be the most open cold traffic I have for this one city. So if you have several different locations, you can do a couple of things. You can drop a pin to add additional locations. So if I wanted to do that, I could just go like this. Now I see the coordinates right here, and then I can do 10 miles, 20 miles. You can actually go down to 1 mile radius. That's the smallest you can do, but you can only do that if you drop a pin. You can also exclude areas in that same fashion. So if I wanted to exclude a part of the map, say I drop it right here and I know this area, it just doesn't have people that could potentially buy from my business. So I'm going to click on that pin and I'm going to click exclude. Then you see it's red with that little X in it. So you can tell that I'm excluding this part of the circle. So I'm just going to click off of that for now. But you can create several different city locations specifically if you have different locations that would serve those different areas, or you can add them all in the same audience if you want to. Typically, zip codes are the most effective way to do this if you have a very targeted demographic. If this is a product or service that anyone can buy, regardless of if they own a home or their income level or maybe their family makeup, then you could keep it as more of this radius targeting. But overall, most businesses have very specific people that could potentially either need or use what they have, or that would be capable of buying from them. So zip codes is a great way to do that. Oftentimes we may find that we just want to target men or women. You can do that as well. But you can also create a separate audience of maybe just men or just women so that you can split test those. So this one is just going to be cold demo Fresno, and then I'll do 35 through 65 plus males, females. So that's going to allow me to know exactly who is in this audience, what type of audience it is, so that I can use it really easily and effectively. Then I'm going to click Create Saved Audience. So something else that we could do here on our cold traffic audiences would be to exclude our warm audiences. We are going to be targeting those warm audiences. We don't want those people to end up in our cold traffic audience, because that would actually skew the data that we're seeing. Because our warm traffic, they've already been exposed to us. They've already shown some interest. So we don't want those people to make it look like a cold traffic audience is performing better than it actually is, because at some point it will fizzle out pretty quickly and then you won't know why that audience is not working anymore. So I'm going to click on exclude. I'm going to go to custom, and I'm just going to exclude those 3 custom audiences. Again, if you add additional custom audiences, you're going to have to go back in and update these audiences by excluding those additionals. So I'm going to click on update, and I can click done. So now we've got our level 2, which are going to be our collective warm, which is a mixture of these. We also have 3 cold traffic audiences we can start testing. And now if we wanted to create a level 3 audience, that is going to consist of specific website events. It could also be specific videos with specific watch times, such as that 75 or that 95% on really targeted videos. It could also be lead form opt-ins, people who've actually submitted that, or even potentially people who've opened that form but did not submit that. So that's really primarily what we're looking for in our retargeting audiences. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to that website audience, 180 days, but I am not going to do all website visitors. I'm going to do these lead events. So these are people who have become a lead, but I could exclude people who have visited a specific web page, like appointment or booked. That way I know that they did not schedule that consult, which is ultimately what we're looking for this business. So this would be a purchase thank you page if you're selling directly online, but we want people who are leads, but they have not taken that next step. That is going to be our retargeting audience. So we are going to call this leads, no schedule, 180 days. We could even call this level 3 so that we know this is a level 3 retargeting audience. Whatever allows you to better understand which audiences are which. So collective warm, level 2, Instagram engagement, Facebook engagement, web, level 2. Then we've got our level 1 cold traffic, level 1 cold traffic, level 1 cold traffic, and now we have a level 3. So you can add any additional level 3 audiences that you want, again, such as those lead form audiences or those maybe specific pages for specific offers that people have visited but they did not opt in. It could also be those video view audiences we talked about for specific videos with a higher percentage of watch time. So that is how you create all 3 types of audiences: your saved audiences, lookalike audiences, and custom audiences for levels 1, 2, and 3. And again, you will just add as many as you possibly can, and those that apply to your specific avatars, demographics, areas that you are targeting, and the actions that you want them to take. Hope this helps. Thanks.